Hey, Scapegoat. How's it hanging? Short, shriveled up, and a little to the right. As the joke goes. I mean, short, shriveled up, and a little to the left is how the actual joke goes, but. But I keep mine hanging to the right. Just not comfortable when it hangs to the left, you know? I just might you wear a pair of pants before washing them. Pair of jeans. Jeans I'll wash every like 3 or 4 weeks, like every 3 weeks to a month for a pair of jeans. Thing is, jeans don't actually need to be washed all that often. I think the CEO of Levi's Strauss? Like, I think the CEO of Levi Strauss says that he never washes his jeans. And there was a college kid who did a study once and found that, like, he didn't wash his jeans for 6 months. Spot cleaning whenever he got a stain. You know, whenever he got a stain, he just, like, grabbed, like, you know, something for spot cleaning. But never put them through a wash. After 6 months, they had no more bacteria than they did after, like, a day. Jeans essentially don't collect bacteria the way other clothes do. So they don't actually need to be washed all that often. Stains. Like, the only reason to wash jeans, really, is for stains. I still will wash them once a month, just, you know. Just because I feel like just because it feels like they should be washed semi-regularly regardless, but trying to stop doing so much laundry. It's ruining my life. Funnily enough, I've been thinking that I need to get more clothes so that... Because my laundry... Hey, Vanna. My laundry loads are always really small. Like, Hey, Beverly. My laundry loads are weirdly small. So, like, I keep feeling like I should get more clothes so that when I'm doing the laundry, it's actually worth it. And Beverly, how many times do y'all wear a pair of pants between washings? 2? messy girl. Fair. Yeah, if they're jeans, wash them when they're dirty. Like, wash them when they've got stains. Like, if for jeans, you really only need to wash them when they're visibly dirty. Uh, other types of pants, yeah, you should wash them. Yeah. I'm filthy, just ask the guys in the neighborhood. I would ask them, but they're all dying of VD. I'm sorry, Scapegoat. I'm sure you don't have any venereal diseases, Scapegoat. I'm sure you have no STDs. Like it when I demean you. So you dig it when guys are mean to you? When they treat you like a filthy whore and slap your ass and spank you? Unfortunately, that's not really my thing. I'm too nice for that. I'd feel bad. You'd be like, spank, sorry. Spank, sorry. Spank, sorry. Or like, yeah, I call a girl a dirty slut. And it's like, I'm sorry. There's nothing wrong with being a slut anyway. I don't mean, yeah, it'd be like, oh, you dirty slut. I'm sorry. I shouldn't slut shame. You feel bad depicting me with nipples? Yeah, I mean, I'm totally okay with sluts. There's a lot of guys who'd never get laid if it wasn't for sluts, so, you know. Good for them. Canadian sorry is a kink. I gotta blow my nose, give me a second. Alright, I'm back. I did not see her live. Did she kiss her cat? I assume she kissed her cat, didn't it? She seems homesick. Yeah, I mean, that's fair. She's been, yeah, she's been away for a while now. It's been what? She moved out there, you know, start of March, right? So it's been what, 9 months now? It's been 9 months, and I mean, you know. She's only back for a month after being away for 3 months, so didn't get to see Julia around the whole time. Did see her make cheese sandwiches quietly and cry. Hey, Elf. Make cheese sandwiches quietly and cry. Damn. Like I said though, understandable that she would be homesick. You know, she was gone for 3 months, back for 1, and then has been gone for 9 months. Well, debating coming back or not at an Airbnb. Well, I'm sure her family would love to see her as well, so. Yeah. I hope she does make it back. Hey, Comic Brook. So, I hope she does make it back for a month or 2, you know? Spend some time with her family. Spend enough time with her family to get tired of them, and then back... spend enough time with her family to get tired of them and to start missing her husband, and then she can go back. That's the way to do it, you know? I feel like that's the way to do it. If you're gonna be... Yeah. Would I see her? If I could. If I had the opportunity. Stream from the Villa Kitchen? Indeed. Alright. Intro music stopped, so that's a good time to get back into this. You wake up from a fitful sleep, but spend an hour rolling around in bed instead of actually getting up. Given how dangerous the situation outside has become, you haven't left the house in several days. The lost sleep makes perfect sense, of course. After last week's events, it's hard to imagine resting easily at all. Still have every crack in the kitchen chair memorized? Kitchen office chair memorized? Your mind keeps coming back to the larger events of last week. How a mob of peasants simply overran the holdings of one of the wealthiest and most powerful men in France. There was nothing special about those people, and yet they so easily defied the laws of His Majesty the King. It brings to mind the idea that what we call power is a partner dance between the ruler and the ruled. To those watching the dance, it feels like the small pushes and pulls of the ruler represent absolute control, but that's only because both partners know their roles so well. That's the power of good theater. It can make imaginary things seem more true than reality. However, the truth is that a single misstep by either partner could cause the entire dance to break down. A single misstep can cause the ruled to remember that they aren't actually powerless at all. As the people remember how much power they truly possess, Paris will become more and more dangerous. Your actions may now have more powerful consequences, for good or for ill. The world has become less forgiving. The next stages of certain romance stories are now unlocked. Hey, nice. You're roused from these thoughts by the sound of Camille knocking on your door. Madame, I just got this letter for you, she announces as she enters your chambers, holding up the message in question. Earlier this morning, I saw a man leave it on our doorstep, but he disappeared before I could get a good look at him. Camille apologizes with a shrug. You take the unsealed letter from her and open it. Immediately, you note that while their handwriting is both careful and curiously precise, you don't recognize it at all. Madame de Caux, you don't know me, but I follow La Trompette du Peuple with interest, and I know that you're connected to some of its finest stories. However, I also have reason to believe that I would be quite useful to some of your more clandestine interests. I'll be waiting at La Place Royale if you would like to discuss this further. Why does La Place Royale sound familiar? You shuffle through your papers until you locate it on your map. Someone once told you that it was a good place to trawl for gossip. Hey! Hey, JJ. Signed, a skilled master of letters. Is it an identity crisis, Jay? Midlife crisis? Crisis on Infinite Worlds? I know DC's always like their crises. Hey, Pika. Midlife crisis? Buy a sports car and sleep with a woman half your age. I just realized I turned 30 next month. Okay, so don't sleep with a woman half your age then. Yeah, don't go half. Hey, Jill. Anyway, yes, this is what I'm drinking, BK. Orange Crush. And yes, happy birthday. $30 next year. That'd be exactly JJK. Yeah, yeah. If you're turning 30, then yeah, half plus 7 in that case. Half your age plus 7. That's the general rule for whether it's okay to sleep with someone. Half your age plus 7. Midlife isn't 30. I mean, it depends on when you plan on dying, JJK. Right there? Exactly, yeah. Exactly. Love Orange Crush? So do I. Crush is good. I like Crush. I like Crush soda. You know, for some of us, 30 might end up being midlife for some of us out there. I'm a pro Grape Crush. Yeah, I like the Grape Crush more than the orange, but the grocery store I go to doesn't really have it. Soda, they've got like the cans of Grape Crush, but not the bottles, and I prefer the bottles. I turned 39 in a few months. 4 months. 3 months? About 3 months. Yeah, I turned 39 in about 3 months, so I'm getting pretty close to due for my midlife crisis, you know? Just give it another year, and I'll be due for my midlife crisis. The first 365 days of the year are always the hardest. Yeah. Anyway. Well, this is certainly unconventional, but if you wanted to meet this man at La Place Royale, you could do that today. Depends. Are there any... Actually, I want to check something. Do I have any gossip? I have no gossip. Makes sense. 39 is the baddiest year. Yep. How old am I? I'm 38. And 3/4. I am 38 and 3/4. Alright. So I could meet the dude at La Place Royale. Or I could go hit on Honorad. What could Honorad and Pierre, of all people, possibly have to say to each other? Whatever it is, Honorad doesn't look very interested in hearing it. This might be a good chance to earn the favor of at least one of them. And we know whose favor I'm looking for. During the course of your exploration of the city, you notice two familiar faces when you're walking through La Place Royale. Honorad and Pierre are talking to each other, and she does not appear to be happy to see him. Then again, most people aren't happy to see him. 26 is my 2 plus 7? Yep. Or half plus 7? Yep. 26 is the youngest that I should date. Yeah, 26 is the youngest I can... 26 is the youngest I can date without it being creepy. Or like the youngest I can hook up with without being creepy. Younger than that, and it's like, dude, that's getting weird. Youngest I actually probably would go for would be like 32. You know? Like any younger than 32 and it'd feel a bit weird, I think. A bit awkward. Time goes so fast. Not worth stressing about anything, really. Yep. Don't want to date. Truthfully, I'm not actually all that interested in dating right now. I've had quite enough. Stop walking around the issue and just tell me what you want. Madame, I assure you that I'm only interested in a deal that we would both find mutually beneficial. In fact, let me begin by... Do not test me, you conniving worm. I will not hesitate to thrash you like you've never been before. 21, can you do something for me? Hi, Anatolia. Hey, Color Purple. Pierre coughs awkwardly and straightens up. Well, as much as I might enjoy that, I assure you that I shall stand firm against such temptations. In the name of journalism. Ugh! This is impossible! I would rather... Yvette! What are you doing here? Madame Gazelle, I see you know my dear associate Yvette. We work together. It's always when you finally decide you don't want to date that you find someone. I'm convinced. I mean, we'll see, Comic Brook, but that would mean that I'd actually, like... I have nowhere to meet someone. Work from home, so I can't meet anyone at work. Only time I leave the house is to go to the grocery store. Not gonna meet anyone at the grocery store. No one picks up dates at the grocery store. That hasn't been a thing in 40 years. Trust me, Pierre, Madame Gazelle is not the sort of woman you should be trifling with. Little Yvette is absolutely correct, Monsieur Renaudot. I would recommend choosing your words carefully with me, she says, while gesturing to her silent footman, Renee, who begins to fetch her carriage. Flirt with the deli ladies? I don't go to the deli counter. Hinge? I'm not on Hinge. I mean, I have an account on Hinge, but I haven't opened it in like 8 months. Hey, gain favor with her. You admonish me in front of a potential client? I shall not forget such a betrayal, until business demands otherwise. Oh, I've lost credibility with Pierre. I have reached the end of my patience, Madame Gazelle snaps. Both of you, in my carriage, right now. Inside Madame Gazelle's lushly appointed vehicle, she seems much more composed. Now that we're no longer discussing my personal affairs in the middle of the street, what exactly is going on here? Add to my profile that I've got a hot tub in my room. Be more popular. This particular information concerns your late husband Charles Gazelle and the fortune he left you upon his passing. Before you begin, let me say that I have no use for yet another man telling me how to handle what is, by all rights, my fortune. I am perfectly capable of handling my own affairs. Like, music is kind of ominous. Means Pierre is in trouble. Madame! Why, I would never dream of such a thing, Pierre says, almost offended. I merely have some information related to your husband's tacit support of a certain Frankish Habsburgian society. This enlightening information isn't free, of course. You have... The hot tub has been seen. Yeah, I'm going to increase my apparel in order to... Pierre, if you keep this up, we'll have to reconsider our working relationship. What? Don't even joke about such a thing, Pierre shouts before dropping to whisper. Besides, we both know that you don't really have any other options. However, if it really means that much to you... The journalist pauses to eye you uncertainly. Then I will give some of this freely. Was Charles known to be an ardent patron of the arts? I ask this because I have evidence that he donated quite a significant sum to a very unusual art studio. For a brief moment, Pierre glances significantly at you and nods. What? In all our years together, Charles never bought a single sculpture or painting. He left all of that to me, even the decorating of our home. Well, that's not surprising, madame. Been playing Mario Wonder and I love it. And of course you love it, it's Mario. That's not surprising, madame. Especially since these artists seem to have spent more time on political theory than on producing paintings. I'd offered to give you the address, but the studio was rented some time ago, and most of the occupants are arrested. This is all a bit much to consider. Naturally, it distresses me to think that I didn't know my dear Charles as well as I thought I did. Still, thank you for convincing me to hear this man out, Yvette. Yay! Favor! Now, Yvette, we're coming up on your home, so I'll let you out here. Pierre may stay to give me the remaining details, and then we shall discuss his payment. Well, madame, I shall endeavor to make our time together as enjoyable as... Afterwards, he will depart my sight immediately and never speak to me again. Ah, yes. The usual. The usual. I like that. Pierre says with a frown. Madame Gazelle opens the door for you and steps down to help you down from the carriage herself. Tentatively, you give her both of your hands. As soon as you find both of your feet on solid ground, she switches to a firm grip on your wrists. Oh, it's always nice to see you, little Yvette. I dearly wish I had more time, but it seems that my responsibilities have called me away. You'll be good for me while I'm gone, won't you? You try to say something, but find your breath frozen in your throat. Ha! Even your silence is adorable, she laughs. Bonsoir, darling. With that, he steps back into her lushly appointed conveyance and departs. You head inside to your room, puzzling over what to make of this latest business. Yesterday, with great fanfare, the Estats Generales finally convened. Madame Gazelle is a choker girl? She is. This great meeting is the result of His Majesty, the King, calling together all three estates of France to debate and vote upon how the various crises ravaging the country shall be resolved. As part of the opening ceremony, each estate paraded down the streets of the city. The first estate, the Church, sent clergymen from all over France. Among their number are everything from humble countryside priests in their black cassocks to resplendent bishops and cardinals bedecked in crimson and gold. The second estate, the nobility, strutted down the streets in unison. Bedecked in their finest clothes and jewels, they seemed like an army of swaggering peacocks. Theirs is the realm of tradition, privilege, and loyalty to the crown. The third estate, representing over 9/10 of France's population, marched in stern and quiet rows. Dressed in blacks, browns, and other sober colors, they represent everyone from the highest judge to the wealthiest factory owner to the lowest peasant. In fact, His Majesty has even seen fit to break from tradition to grant the Third Estate double representation. With twice the amount of representatives, they're closer to representing their own stake in the country, which was originally a source of great hope. Unfortunately, it has come to pass that while they were granted double representation, they haven't been given a doubled amount of votes. The Third Estate still can only cast as many votes as either the First or the Second Estate. This means that their double representation is purely symbolic. Needless to say, this has made many people extremely unhappy. In fact, it's led to some within the Third Estate to... Wait, what the devil? Clenching the newspaper in your tightening clutches, you reread the article carefully. One of the men described in the article sounds extremely familiar. Long brown hair, young and tall, representing the nobility of the Second Estate, but is elected to merely wear a fine blue coat for the opening ceremonies, without other adornments. The article writer singled out his casual attire as disrespectful. That's Armand, you're absolutely certain of it. Without any illustrations to speak of, you're forced to carefully reread the short passage over and over again. Every tiny statement about the reporter's chosen viewing point of the ceremonies gains a new value as you attempt to deduce where Armand was last seen. After checking your findings against your map of Paris, you think you might have a lead. Researching Armand is now available to visit on the Paris map. In fact, you might be able to search for him today. Balance of power. There appears to be some disagreement between members of Le Guet Royal and the military as to who has true authority in the streets of Paris. Bespectacled traveler with an important appointment to keep is facing some navigational woes. Can you help him find his way? Hessian Dorman. I was supposed to meet someone at La Place Royale, wasn't I? I don't even remember what for now. Don't remember what I was supposed to do at La Place Royale. So, I have a nice voice to listen to. Oh, thanks, JJK. Alright, so research Armand or meet some dude at La Place Royale. I honestly don't even remember what the hell who I was supposed to meet here. Right, some dude, yeah, some mysterious dude. Did I get lost? I'm trying to decide which side quest to do right now. Yeah, let's search for Armand first. Love! For love! The sake of love! After reading about a man that matches Armand's description in a newspaper article, you head down to where he was last spotted. Hopefully you'll be able to find some clues in regards to his disappearance. Getting ready in a flash, you head out into the street with the newspaper and your journal, determined to find some evidence of where Armand could possibly be. The journalist who wrote the article mentioned a nearby bakery. It sounded familiar to you from your various walks about Paris. Multiple choice, I like that. Yep. You curse yourself for having to rely on such thin evidence. It's a description of a man who might be Armand, reported being seen near a bakery, which might be the one you vaguely remember. There's no guarantee that he'll ever come back here. There's barely a guarantee that he was even here at all. It's utterly maddening, and you struggle to remember what's even motivating you right now. Armand must rue the day he wronged me. I must find Armand, because I love him. There's a question. At this point, am I looking for love or truth? Am I motivated by love or truth right now? I say love. You feel a rush of energy as you say this to yourself. You can't stop now. Not while love is at stake. You manage to find the bakery, but you're uncertain as to where to start your search. Ate a whole jar of Lay's French onion dip? Wonder if it matters. Perhaps I should go inside and question the proprietor. You're about to step inside when you feel a tap on your shoulder. We should get off the street, he says quietly. You're still struck dumb with shock when he leads you off the street and into a nearby tavern with no other patrons. The staff look at the two of you with a mixture of confusion and indignation, as if the very idea of customers offends them to their core. Even after sitting there for a few minutes, nobody approaches your table. This might help explain why there are no other customers in here. And yes, good job, Mackie. Congratulations. I'm so glad to see you, he says, his eyes staring deeply into your own. The chips? Me. What happened to you? What's going on? Why do any of this? I can see that this turn of fortune has done nothing to dull your inquisitive nature. Hey, I gained favor. Apparently, jumping from, not even bothering to express happiness at seeing him, just jumping straight to, what the fuck are you doing, bitch? What the hell is going on? Apparently that's the way to his heart. Not words of love and happiness, but answer some questions, jerk. Be dramatic? Absolutely. Always choose drama. I came to Paris, and, as you can tell by my old dwellings, had to live very frugally. As much as I enjoy little luxuries, my money was better spent on my other pursuits in the city. I was attending parties that needed to make inroads with powerful people, including one Maximin de Town. He shakes his head ruefully. I was beside myself with rage when I'd heard that they lashed out at you to get vengeance on me. I knew that I'd angered them with my proposals, but I had no idea that they'd sink to such wretched behavior. In fact, he says in a low voice, I believe that they're the one who sent those men to do violence upon me. Thankfully, my father's constant insistence that I study the art of pugilism proved to be wise. After a great struggle and several smart applications of a candelabra to their heads and shoulders, I managed to drive them both from the house. He stands proudly, but a telltale wink suggests that he might still be recovering from some injuries. However, I had no idea when those villains would return, and how many of their associates they'd bring with them. So I had to flee that very night. I know in my mind that it was a sound decision, but in my heart I've regretted it ever since. I'm so sorry. Please, I've already forgiven you. I'm just glad you're alive. You have no idea how eagerly I've waited to hear those words from you. he says, laughing with a sense of great relief. More favor? I have so much to tell you, and so much to show you. Soon you'll understand why I've done all of this. You'll see what's at stake for us. Of course, right now I still have to risk going to the Estate Generale, as I have many important things to do there. Thankfully, nobody can risk assailing me while I'm there, but I have to keep my living situation a secret due to the threat of ambush, he says while he pulls out a piece of paper and begins to write on it. He hands you the paper, which he's written an address on. It's a house on the western edge of the city. Don't worry. It's just as charming as the one you're living in at the moment. I couldn't eat a whole jar of anything. I mean, give me time. Not in one not in one sitting, but I can eat a jar of something over multiple sittings. Armand's purpose is now available to visit on the Paris map. Well, I can't move back in with you. You'll at least be able to visit me where we're staying. Un moment, Armand. What do you mean by where we're staying? Yes. Well, you see... Armand, what the devil are you doing here? We need to... A woman asks as she walks into the tavern. She freezes in her tracks when she sees you. Good face. I like this face. Who is this? I love this angry face that she's making. That is amazing. This game honestly has some really good faces on some of the women. Well, in general, this game does have some really good faces now and then. Just the so exaggerated. Oh, I suppose introductions are in order. Yvette, this is Joanna Dujardin. She leads the political society I've been working with. Joanna, this is Yvette Decaux, my fiancée. She managed to track me down, Armand says quite proudly. She seems like a bitch. Like, all honesty, she just looks like a bitch. Your fiancé? After all this time, I just assumed... Joanna trails off, looking you over carefully. Well, no matter. If someone like her can find you, then we aren't doing a very good job of hiding. We have to go. Hey, Joel. Just when I finally found her again? Absolutely not. Ooh, devious look. The longer we stay on the streets, the more likely it is that some assassin runs a blade through your ribs, Joanna replies in a soothing tone, resting her fingers on the back of his hand. You won't see her again at all if that happens. This conniving bitch is trying to steal my fiancé. This conniving bitch is trying to steal my man. I suppose that's reasonable, Armand admits, running his fingers through his hair. Yvette, you know how to find me. I want to tell you more, but for now, I need to go. Don't worry, this won't last forever. With that, they leave. The more I'm learning about this situation, the less I like it. He wakes at the tavern, your mind swirling with dark possibilities, and heavy with a sense of dread. You found Armand, but now you're wondering if that was for the best. May the better woman win? Man, no parties going on. I will say, in fairness, I'm trying to hook up with Madame Gazelle. Alright. Before we follow up with Armand... Hey, J. Dot. Before following up with Armand... Actually, I'm gonna do something here. I just want to check something here real quick. I want to see if I will actually get to meet that dude here, or if it's just going to be gossip. La Place Royale, a great square where the rich and powerful socialize. Here you'll spend the day trawling for gossip. Crossing into central Paris, you're struck by the beauty of the buildings around you. Some of the oldest structures in the city are here, surrounded by the homes of wealthy aristocrats. The entrances of these elegant homes are blocked by garishly dressed doormen, who honestly look more bored than imposing. Growing up, you read incessantly about Paris, devouring any book or map you could find. Yet for some reason you can't remember what makes this area special, beyond nice homes and some buildings built in the 1300s. What's going on? Nothing much. And then you see it. La Place Royale, the favored social spot for all aristocrats in the city. The hub of all gossip, social news, slander, and scandal. If there was ever a telling secret or a salacious rumor, this was the place to find it. Yeah, can I visit La Place Royale? You see the elegantly dressed aristocrats strutting about the gardens, stopping briefly to chat in hushed tones. Observe a little first. Tutorial. Stepping back underneath a shady awning, you take some time to really take it all in. Everyone here is either well-dressed, or dressed so casually that it only draws attention to how powerful they must be. After all, only the truly powerful can afford to downplay their importance. It all feels so tense. Aristocrats and courtiers, merrily flitting from conversation to conversation with a practiced ease, but you can never lose the feeling that nobody has really let their guard down. Everything they do is a kind of public performance, reinforcing an image they're trying to create. But they just got out of apartment? Is that bad? You've come to understand that every time you visit La Place Royale, you'll be awarded with a piece of gossip from a random faction. It will always be cheap gossip, but at least it's a guaranteed reward. After you feel a little more comfortable with how things work here, you stroll about the square. Staying on the absolute edge of conversations, you pretend to be a traveler just admiring the apartments and gardens. After an hour or so, you manage to overhear something useful. Pierre will be very interested in this. Cheap military gossip. You know that this is the very place the mysterious, skilled master of letters suggested that you meet. However, you don't seem to see him. Perhaps you'll find him the next time you visit, now that you're more familiar with the area. Yeah, okay. The socialites in the square are starting to filter out to their dinner appointments and other social commitments, and you decide to head home as well. This place could be truly valuable. I can't wait to see what I overhear next. The walk home is short and uneventful, save for your daydreams of what secrets you may find in that place. Still no parties to worry about. Nothing involving my lady. Nowhere else to live? His neighbor got a... Oh, well that's shitty. Well, that's bad. Okay, that is bad. Alright, may as well sell that gossip I picked up. Madame, thank God you've arrived. I've been keenly checking out, blah, blah, blah. Military gossip. As it happens, an older veteran who stands accused of murder has been discovered to be receiving care packages delivered by soldiers to his jail cell. Is this a sign of loyalty or corruption? I mean, loyalty. Increase or decrease the power of the military by a small amount. I'll take the money. Don't really care about the power of the military. I'd rather change the loyalties of the military. And hey, barrel down, nice. Alright. Who's some outrageous gossip? Alright. We had someone going around setting things on fire. Turned out it was a homeless lady who was crazy. I'm just curious about something. I want to see if I can invite someone here. Feeling like you could use some fresh air, you decide to take your travels to the edge of Paris. As much as you like the city, the change of pace is appreciated. Passing through a checkpoint of the city's outer wall, you hear the sounds of music and raucous laughter. Turning a corner, you stumble upon an idyllic-looking establishment named Minuet Paradis. A band plays music, while the patrons drink wine and dance. Sitting down at one of the rustic tables, you note down the Guinguet in your journal. Now an available rendezvous location. Entertainment may be on the coarse side for some, but it's perfect for those that just want to relax and have fun. Everyone here seems to be having a great time, and I can't blame them. After spending a few hours talking in the crowds and bobbing in time with the lively music, you decide to head home, but you have a feeling you'll be back there soon. Rent and wages. Oh hey, there's going to be a ball soon. Military ball. Spectacular display of joyous revelry. I will accept. It's not for a while, though. "40 livers, I only have one." Anyway. I'm sorry, that was kind of a dickish way of laughing. A dance together. Exploring the streets of Paris, you happen to run into your newly rediscovered fiancé. He suggests that the two of you take a break from your normal routines in order to simply enjoy life in Paris a little. He's always been rather convincing. Alright, let's go dancing. You wander the streets of Paris. As always, you're looking for an opportunity of some sort, but a certain malaise drags at your every step. It's not exhaustion per se, but it certainly makes things more difficult. Perhaps this is common in a life such as yours, where it's difficult to truly separate one's labor from their leisure. As you ponder this quandary, you feel a gentle tap on your shoulder. Turning around, you find yourself face to face with none other than your fiancé, Armand. "Yvette! I managed to finish my business early today. We so rarely get to see each other. How would you feel about joining me for a little merriment?" Unable to think of any particular reason to object, you follow him to the eastern edge of Paris, to a certain Guinguet Paradis. The workday is far from over, yet somehow they seem to already have a good crowd. It's a merry place indeed, if a bit brash and rustic. Perhaps it would make a good place to take someone on a rendezvous. Someone who enjoyed more lively and honest entertainments. "I have to admit, I've grown quite fond of this place." "I can see why. Does it remind you of home as well?" "It really does," he laughs. "As hard as we work to escape that place,
There's something nice in being able to visit what reminds us of its virtues, especially when we have the ability to leave whenever we want.
Armand grabs a table for the both of you and orders the house wine. It arrives in a clay pitcher, and the vintage is completely unknown. Then again, this doesn't feel like a place where the patrons care about the specifics of their refreshments, merely quantity and potency. A few glasses later, you notice that the tempo of the music has started to pick up. He extends a hand to you across the table.
Would you care to dance, ma chérie?
I figured dance a romantic and elegant minuet. You take his hand and join him among the other dancers, choosing to dance a minuet, characterized by precisely synchronized movements and short steps together. The music isn't really suited for the dance, but that feels besides the point for a place like this. It is controlled, it is graceful, it is exactly how you want to feel. It is a dance where you must pay attention to every detail of your partner. You can feel the pressure of stares at your backs as you dance together. While times are changing, there are still those who view partner dancing as indecent. Then again, they can take their complaints up with the hangman if they care so much. You and Armand have been defying convention for a long time already. Why stop here? Now that you and Armand are truly alone, you find a question coming to mind. Armand, who was that man from the village? The one who called himself Charles.
Oh.
Charles? The bookseller?
Armand asks, surprised.
Years ago, once I devoured every book on political theory that I could find. I started to order them from him. He lived in Avignon and had a much easier time obtaining the latest imprints. Eventually, my books started arriving with letters from him, asking my opinion on this issue or that, and we struck up a frequent correspondence. Perhaps a year later, he asked if I would be interested in joining a society of like-minded individuals, who turned out to be the Frankish Habsburgian Society. The rest is, as they say, history.
I have a suspicion. Slowly, the music winds down and you step away from the other dancers and revelers. Arm in arm, the two of you walk back through the city gates to Paris proper. I think his friend Charles was Honorad's husband.
This is where we must part ways, ma chérie, but I hope to see you again soon. Things may be chaotic now, but I just know that we'll make it through this.
As you find your way home, you consider the day's events and your time with Armand. It does my heart well to see him again. It truly was good to see him. After all, he's the reason you came to Paris in the first place, and he's still your first true love. Sometimes the first urges of the heart are those that are the most correct. Can get some shocking gossip, that might be useful. To get shocking gossip here, which could help with some influence. Yeah, let's do this. Not everyone visiting Paris has the wry subtlety that you've grown used to. Some are far more blunt. However, that's not always a bad thing. Let's get some gossip. You decide to spend the day wandering the Fountain Square, as it's a warm day and plenty of people will be congregating there, which usually means it's a good place for finding information. Perhaps you'll be able to find something that Pierre would find valuable. You survey the area, and everyone here already looks like they have someone to talk to, which is concerning. Approaching a stranger is easy. Approaching a group of them by yourself is far more daunting. Curse the audacity of these strangers! How dare they have friends! You spot a man who has just taken a seat, by himself, at the table of a nearby cafe. He spread out a great sheet of paper and weighed down the corners with empty saucers. You approach him, but he doesn't acknowledge you at first, and appears totally lost in his document. From the looks of it, it's some kind of diagram or blueprint, but the exact details are lost on you. Ah, bonjour, madame. Oh,
Ah, bonjour, madame,
he says without looking up. His accent is foreign, but you're unable to place it. It sounds either Austrian or Hungarian.
My name is Christoph, if that's what you were going to ask. What business is it that you have here? What business is it that you have here?
Man, I suck at accents. Damn it. Indulging in curiosity. What are you doing? The loner, our victim.
Right now, I'm studying a 400-year-old church to determine why it hasn't fallen down, despite a complete lack of renovations in the last 100 years. The priest has insisted to me that this is a miracle, but I can't imagine the Lord using miracles to reward a century of shoddy maintenance.
He gestures to the chair from him.
Please take a seat.
You do so and settle in, finally feeling a little more comfortable in the situation. Hey. Without taking his eyes off the document, he waves over a waitress and orders you some coffee. When it arrives, you take a sip. It is coffee sweet, strong, and hot. It's also quite invigorating. Hey.
Judging from your interest in the affairs of strangers, I imagine you also have a thirst for gossip, yes?
Well, this is true. You're not sure if he had to put it quite so cynically.
To that end, would you prefer to learn something interesting about the military or the revolution?
Good question. Do I want to move the military away from... I want to try to get the revolution some more power. Let's try to see if we can get the revolution some more power. Really? Please tell me what you've learned about the revolution.
As I suspected,
he sighs.
Here's what I've learned.
He spends the next few minutes detailing some gossip concerning the revolution. It's certainly an interesting story, but something about the whole exchange feels rather untoward. Without the pretense of intrigue, it seems so heartless and mercantile. Shocking revolution gossip. The two of you talk for a little longer, but the conversation eventually winds down. He pauses to check his pocket watch and says,
I'm sorry, but I must head to the Bastille. If I am to study it, I will need to do so before I lose the sunlight. Au revoir, madame.
Wish more people still wore pussy bows. He says before he packs up all his materials and drops some coins on the table for your respective refreshments. He departs, and you decide to leave as well before it gets too dark. Oh. Professor Claude Rouergue. Music recital. Intimate party is sure to be the purest form of Gentile. Fashion back then was interesting. Alright. Better sell that gossip while it's still fresh. Wouldn't suit everyone, and those corsets for women. They need crown gossip. But first I've got a trio of the Third Estate delegates in Paris for the Estate Generale were detained by the Gay Royale. Were the Gay harassing honorable men, or forced to act out against boorish provocation? Increase the power of the revolution. Wish some men had something like an elongation cage. I mean, we got socks. Stuffed socks in there. Can you imagine every morning squeezing into a corset? Alright, as always, check to see if there's anything I can do with Amarad. There is not. I suspect I will probably need to figure out some sort of rendezvous location that she goes to. Yeah. I would never eat. Gotta go shower. Time for Chinese. Enjoy your Chinese, JJK. Alright. Let's go meet Armand. Finally found your fiance, Armand, and he's invited you to visit him in his new abode. He claims that he'll be able to explain his mysterious disappearance and what he's been doing all of this time. It's a long walk to get to the Armand's address on the western edge of Paris, but compared to the events of the last month or so, it's as easy as a stroll around the block. The neighborhood is a poor one, but filled with the kind of poor who still feel that they can improve their station. Persons strut proudly down the streets wearing one or two articles of fine clothing over their worn-out ones, seeming almost a parody of the wealthy aristocrats who glide about La Place Royale. To them, these one or two expensive things are both a luxury and a valuable armor against the sneers and derision of those better off. Time and again, you've seen that the poorer one is, the harder it is to gain someone's trust. In lives like theirs, any scrap of trust could be the difference between survival and complete destitution. Armand must have chosen this address because he wouldn't stand out here. In his fashion of a fine nobleman's jacket and plainer clothes underneath, he'd look like any other proud and desperate man trying to strive for something better. You managed to find Armand's new home. 3 stories tall, but thin and leaning to one side, it feels less like a home and more like an old man crippled with age. It reminds you of your own living situation. However, judging from the dust and cracked window panes, he doesn't have anyone like Camille to take care of things. Well, Armand isn't the only one living there. There's also this Joanna woman. You're still uncertain of her role in all of this. Could she be the one who wrote that cryptic letter to him, which you found secreted underneath the floorboards in the kitchen? You knock on the door and hear some movement inside before someone opens the door just a crack to see who it is. Spotting you, Armand flings open the door and bounds outside.
Oh, ma chérie, it's great to see you again. Please, come in.
You walk in and he takes your cloak from you to hang on a coat rack. The inside of the building is remarkably sparse, and without any decorations. It feels more like an outpost than a home.
Please make yourself at home. Joanna is out, so it's just you and me for the moment.
Armand, I don't know how to feel about this Joanna. Can you tell me more? Oh, but of course, he replies happily and a little relieved. Favor, yay! My friend Charles introduced me to her when I first moved to Paris, and while our organization here has been growing rapidly, I've essentially become her closest confidant. Though she'd never take credit for it, she's the real founder of the society I've become a part of, he says, gesturing to the walls, which are covered in maps and notes. She's clever, tenacious, and she speaks French so well for someone who didn't grow up with the language. You think back on your brief conversations with her, and you never even detected a hint of a foreign accent. When she spoke, why would she put so much effort into sounding exactly like a native French speaker?
I'm really glad to see you reacting this way, Armand admits. I was afraid you'd be jealous of her. I understand that a man and woman living under the same roof leads to all sorts of assumptions. I think we can both agree that if there's one thing that life in Paris has taught us, it's that few things are as they appear to be.
He laughs.
I can safely say that, during my first days in Paris, I had my fair share of rude awakenings in that regard. On the other hand, from what I've heard and all the gossip that's been circulating about you, you've adjusted extremely quickly. Perhaps Paris is where you were meant to be after all.
Hey, taking care.
Speaking of gossip circulating around you, I've heard quite a bit involving you and one Madame Gazelle, a mysterious widow with eccentric tastes.
He reads your facial expression and holds his hands up innocently.
Please don't take me for a jealous boor, Yvette. As I may have said before, I don't blame you given the circumstances. I'm more curious than anything as I've never met her. What's she really like?
Madame Gazelle is more than her eccentricities. She's passionate and dedicated.
Oh, really? Perhaps I'll have to learn a little more about her myself. Oh yes, I have something to show you,
he says, leading you up 2 creaky flights of stairs to a window. It immediately feels different from the other ones in the house, because you can see that the glass here has actually been cleaned and polished.
Look out at all that,
he says, gesturing to the city. You're at the very top of a small hill, and all the buildings in this neighborhood are short, lending you a remarkably clear view of Paris.
I come here to think every day, to think about the responsibility I have to these people. While I'll never see them all, I can see their houses, their workplaces, and all the other places that serve as the stages for their lives. Few of them will ever have the power to change things, sometimes by the mere circumstances of their birth. Still, that only makes it even more important that I do something right. That's why I joined this group, the Frankish Habsburgian Society. In Austria, the House of Habsburg has managed reforms for more efficient governance, religious tolerance, land reforms, and more. Here in France, we have a battle brewing between 2 disastrous powers. First, there's the aristocracy, who would march our country off a cliff if it allowed them to preserve their privileges for another day. And the revolutionaries, who can only agree on what they wish to tear down, but not on what they'll build afterwards. Her Majesty, our Queen, was born Maria Antonia Josepha Johanna, daughter of the Empress of Austria. Her brother, Joseph II, is the Holy Roman Emperor. If our two countries were brought together under a single rule, France would have the resources to solve its immediate crises, and the political will necessary to do away with our more backwards traditions. Every single day, I look out this window and think of all the people that we could save.
This is amazing, Armand. It's perfect.
Well, it's certainly amazing, but it's far from perfect. What we're aiming to do is perilous indeed.
He takes his hand in yours.
Yet, there's nobody I'd rather have at my side to fight for this future with than you.
Yay, more favor! Armand stares silently out the window, looking out at Paris and its people. You stare with him. Without a word, he grabs you by the waist and pulls you closer. You rest your head in the crook of his shoulder and realize that you'd nearly forgotten how it felt. The two of you watch the sun set on the city together. The lights of city slowly appear, like a second set of stars. Quietly, he says,
I have to leave for a meeting tonight. More secrets and skullduggery. We have something coming up that will involve convincing a lot of people to our cause, and I think you'd be perfect for it. I'll have someone leave a message with Camille when we get close to the date. You can stay here for a little while longer if you like. Can I trust you to let yourself out?
Nope, I'm going to steal everything you own while you're gone. He laughs.
Oh, villainous woman, please have mercy! I am but a poor baron who has fallen on hard times.
The two of you spend the next few minutes giggling as you chase each other around the house. You keep trying to steal various books and silverware, while he keeps trying to put the purloined items back in their proper place. Eventually, he catches you trying to walk away with his broken grandfather clock, and you both collapse in fits of laughter. Aw. Cute fun. Armand is just about to leave before he turns back to you and says,
I just wanted to say that I never stopped thinking about you. In fact, I still have all the letters you wrote me, locked away in my desk.
With a gentle smile, he departs for his meeting, leaving you alone in his house. You relax and assess your situation for a while before leaving yourself. Alone, you walk down the nighttime streets by yourself, considering all you've just learned. Fantastic! I finally managed to find my fiancée, and now I'm an accomplice to treason. Your head hangs heavy, as if a millstone had been placed around your neck as you trudge home. You spend the long walk home through the dark, wondering how, exactly, you'll manage to rescue yourself from this latest set of dangers. By overthrowing the crown. Alright, so I need to find some gossip. Well, if it's gossip I need, then, I'm gonna try some save scumming here. I need crown gossip, so... only now your goal is slightly different. You're looking for the mysterious skilled master of letters. Oh, right, that sent you that message earlier. He said that he was interested in helping you, but you've also been deceived before. You approach the statue of King Louis XIII at the center of the square, in order to survey the area. Specifically, you're looking for someone that appears to be looking for someone else. After a few minutes, you hear someone meaningfully clear their throat behind you.
Henri Vrain-Lucas. Henri Vrain-Lucas at your service, Madame Ducot.
It's a pleasure to meet you, Monsieur Vrain-Lucas. What's this about?
It's a pleasure to meet you as well. To get to the point, I know that you've been getting involved with the major players in the city, as it were. I can see why, too. After those riots, tensions have only arisen, and if I were a betting man, I'd say that things in Paris are going to get worse before they get better. With that in mind, I wanted to offer my services as a forger of letters. A canny woman like yourself could obviously get quite some use out of a few political notes accidentally leaked to the right people in the right positions of power. While I can't directly influence the crown or the revolution, I'm certain that I would be able to deliver a significant push to the loyalties of the military, church, or bourgeoisie.
What exactly do you expect to get out of this?
Well, I must admit that my services aren't cheap. Then again, I don't offer them to just anyone. This would all cost around 50 livres. I know this isn't cheap, but surely it's a paltry fee compared to this possibility of changing the course of history.
He hands you a business card that only has an address on it. No name or other indication of what the business does. Hey, I can now forge letters.
Now I must take my leave, he says with a curt nod. Please consider my offer carefully.
Elongation cage?
Yep.
He walks away, disappearing into the crowd, and you are left to stroll around La Place Royale. Hopefully you'll be able to find some juicy gossip. Staying on the absolute edge of conversations, you stroll around the square pretending to be blah blah blah. Revolution gossip. Socialites in the square start to filter out to their dinner appointments and other social commitments, and you decide to head home as well. Man, I need a Feast of St. Michael. Professor Anne Noël's. Intimate party, sure to be of generous. Some shocking revolution or crown gossip. Outrageous revolution or crown gossip. Elongation cage sounds painful and completely unnecessary. I mean, my response to that was, that's why we stuff socks down our pants. If a guy wants to make his dick look bigger, he just puts a sock down his pants. Because, I assumed that what Vanna was going for was, something to, a male equivalent of a corset. Alright. Put myself at risk, but good gossip. Best gossip. The outrageous gossip is useful. Come across the hirelings of one of your earliest enemies. But what are they up to? Let's put ourselves at risk for top-notch gossip. Your exploration of the city extends later into the day, and you find yourself wandering relatively empty streets. Out of the corner of your eye, you spot a disreputable-looking man step out of an alleyway, glance about, and walk away at a faster than normal speed. This normally wouldn't be cause for concern, as you've seen plenty of the city's criminal class on your walks. However, right before he passes you, you see him tuck a letter into his coat. A letter written on fine paper, sealed with the same colored wax used by Baron Maximin de Towns. Against your better judgment, you start following the suspicious man. You manage to stealthily shadow this man's twisting route for nearly half an hour, when he suddenly whirls about to turn on you. The dwindling sunlight glints off of a weapon in his hand.
Who the devil are you?
He spits. Medium credibility challenge. Your employer sent me to oversee this little job of yours. Honestly, this option is just funnier to me. I'm the only person who can stop you from getting caught, you incompetent fool.
What? How dare you speak to me like that?
He sneers, taken aback by your sudden aggression.
However, my employer has certainly been jumping at shadows as of late,
The messenger admits, scratching his temple.
Perhaps things have grown as dire as they claim. So what do you want me to do then?
Give me the letter. I'm the second stage for the delivery.
The second stage? Nobody told me this delivery was going to have so many moving parts.
He sighs angrily.
This operation is growing more slipshod by the day. I swear after that business with the Baron de Marlborough, everything has gone awry. Some days it feels like I'm the last man left with any common sense.
With that, he pulls the letter from his coat and hands it to you. Then, without another word, he storms away. He seems to be muttering something about incompetence under his breath. With the letter in hand, you press your back against a wall and make sure that you're alone while you learn something about your erstwhile nemesis. With a quick slice from a small knife you keep in your bag, you delve into the letter to see what perfidy Maximin is up to. In this letter, you manage to find some damaging gossip. Extremely damaging, in fact. Carefully rereading the letter again, you also manage to gain some knowledge about their future plots. It should be a little easier to sidestep their machinations now. Hey, nice. Lost a little barrel, nice. Tucking the letter into your stays, you quickly head home before anyone has a chance to ask questions about your curious behavior. Night has fallen by the time you make it back to your house. This was a fruitful day indeed. You wake up to find a letter waiting for you on your bedside table. This wouldn't be unusual, save for the fact that it's sealed in plain, uncolored wax, which hasn't been stamped with a sigil of any sort. Opening the letter, you immediately recognize Armand's handwriting. However, the writing style is remarkably brief for him, and you find yourself instinctively checking for another 3 or 4 pages of text that don't exist. Chère Yvette, Johanna has recently finished setting up a meeting place, where we can meet with notable individuals who are attending the État Général. More importantly, these are persons who are interested in learning more about the goals of our humble society. It sounds to you like some very influential people are genuinely intrigued by this Frankish Habsburgian society business. You read on a little further and find an address. Looks like these events aren't happening very far from your home. Foreign entanglements now available. Your knowledge, canniness, and infamy would be an amazing asset to us. I would love to see you there. Je t'embrasse, Armand. You put down the letter and check your calendar. You might be able to visit that place today if you like. Might. But I'm not going to. Instead, a book salesman was recently arrested for printing profane criticism of the royal family. Punishment for vulgar slander or oppression of necessary criticism. This I will sell. An aristocrat challenged a prominent revolutionary thinker to a duel of honor, who dismissed the challenge as barbaric. That's not outrageous. Increase the power of the revolution greatly. Rent and wages. Boo. Yeah, alright, meet this dude. Whew. Reward, sir. Oof. Armand has requested your assistance with one of the events he's putting on with the mysterious Frankish Habsburgian Society. For better or worse, this Joanna person may also be there. Joanna woman may also be there. It's not a long walk to the address that Armand provided in his letter, but you wait until nighttime before you head out. He said that these notable persons are in Paris attending the Estate General, which means that they'd only be free later in the day, when they were out of session. When you find the address, you see that it's a tavern, but you see very little light coming from inside. The front door is shut, along with a sign on it that reads, "Closed for a private event." You reach out and knock on the door. A slot in the top of the door opens, and a pair of skeptical eyes glare out at you from the opening. Through the open slot, you can hear the sound of multiple people speaking in low voices.
Who are you and what do you want?
A man asks from behind the door. I am Yvette Decaux. I'm told that I've been expected.
I see.
Mused at the voice as the eyes squint at you.
Please, come in.
The slot slams shut. The door opens, and you step inside. Those sound effects are getting really distracting. It takes a few seconds for your eyes to adjust to the darkened interior. You turn around and examine the person guarding the door, and come face to face with Maximin Storman?
Bonsoir, madame,
he says, shifting awkwardly from foot to foot. You're here? I thought Maximin hated Armand's Habsburgian ideas.
He does,
the valet admits, pausing for a moment to look awkwardly at his own shoes.
I've been secretly working for the Frankish Habsburgian Society for over a year now, and I thought Maximin would like the idea of speaking with another cause that aimed to disempower the king. In fact, I was the one who facilitated your Armand's introduction to him in the first place. Unfortunately, he saw it as another threat to the liberty of the people. When I made that introduction, I thought he was going to reward me, but instead I was one wrong move away from being given over to the archers. So I simply let him hurl his fury at someone else, and let him forget about my personal involvement.
Surely we have no hard feelings between us, no? Before you can summon up a suitably cutting remark, Armand steps up beside you to defuse the situation.
Oh, Rivette, it's fantastic to see you.
His hand lightly placed on your elbow, he steers you into a secluded corner of the venue.
Thank you so much for coming,
he says while he hugs you close. Hey, trailer.
Here are our plans for tonight, he continues while gesturing out to the crowd behind you. We have all of these guests who are in Paris for the Estate General, who are representing the various estates. While they know the general agenda of our society, they naturally have their reservations about joining us. I've been called into a special meeting tonight, but Joanna is going to be helping you, all right?
A special meeting, you say? Sounds interesting.
Oh, but it is, Armand replies before dropping his voice to a low whisper. Well, I can't name any names. It's someone on the King's Privy Council. Someone who speaks with His Majesty regularly. Well, we obviously need all the support we can get. Someone like this could change our fortunes overnight.
He exhales sharply.
Do I look nervous? I feel like I look nervous.
Nervous? You? You're Baron Armand de Malbo. You were made for this very moment.
Mon Dieu, you're absolutely right.
What am I worrying about? He asks, straightening up and puffing at his chest heroically.
I must be off. There's work to be done.
I mean, yeah, for some people, that is exactly what you need to tell them. What do you have to be nervous about? This is what you do. And then they're like, you know what? You're right. This is what I do. Armand departs, and you head off in search of Joanna and that guest Armand mentioned. However, when you do locate her, it appears that she's already started the conversation without you. As a man representing the Second Estate, from such a traditional and storied lineage, I understand that this must be difficult for you, Joanna says, her words flowing like honey.
Yes, well, my family has proudly served all the strongest kings of France. However, His Majesty does not appear to be cut from the same cloth. He vacillates, issuing stern decrees in the morning, then retracting them at the first sign of resistance by supper time. It's embarrassing. Whatever happened to the days of I am the state?
How's everyone doing? I'm fine. I like my men long. Well, I can assure you, monsieur, that bringing France under the wing of Austria would strengthen France, the monarchy, and the nobility as a whole. Joseph II is a strong emperor, working to consolidate power, not let it disperse to undeserving inferiors.
Well, madame, if this emperor is consolidating power, how would I benefit at all?
A nobleman's power extends from their lord. A strong lord makes you stronger by proxy. He steps aside to make room for you in the conversation.
Our power extends from our lord.
He chuckles drolly.
You sound like the tutors from my childhood, but your point is well made. It's exactly what's been going wrong with this country. We're at a point of crisis, and all attempts to look to His Majesty for leadership have left us wanting. We need a strong ruler wherever we can find it.
He turns to Joanna.
Madame de Dujardin, you have my support. I'll send a lackey to your address tomorrow morning to arrange a personal meeting where we can discuss details.
He leaves, a cheery expression on his face. Joanna's, on the other hand, is one of barely concealed shock. That was certainly a deft maneuver, she manages. It appears that Armand was right about you. Hey! Without another word, Joanna strides over to the next guest. Refusing to be outdone, you hurry after her, trying to keep pace. This guest is younger and carries the sober bearing of a representative of the Third Estate. He's both highly agitated and aggressively serious in equal measure. Joanna unfolds her fan and whispers to you behind it. Just follow my example and we'll have this done quickly. Bonsoir, monsieur. I'm Joanna Dujardin, and I've been told that you are a well-respected judge from Hainaut, bordering on the Austrian Netherlands. Is this why you've been so gracious as to show an interest in our humble society? Try to get a voice for this guy.
You're very well informed, he admits. Additionally, my family extends beyond France, to the other side of the border, and this has been a source of some of my interest. However, I am still deeply concerned about the future. By all accounts, I agree with Joseph II, especially his edict of religious tolerance. It always sounds good to let a good man take on more power, but what about the man who will, someday, come after him?
That is a good fucking point! That's the problem with monarchy! Say you get a good king. Cool, congratulations, you've got a great king who's improving lives for everybody. His son? His son's okay. His son keeps things going, doesn't really make much, improve much, but he doesn't destroy your kingdom. That guy's son? Oh yeah, now you're all screwed.
What guarantee do we have of the next man's ability and good intentions?
We already endure that under Louis XVI. This would let us choose a better man today.
A choice of kings?
He asks, almost confused by your point.
It's certainly a unique opportunity, he admits. One that would allow us to have the stability of an established ruler. but to cast off the weights of a failing regime.
Joanna chimes in. Of course, we don't intend to stop here. There should certainly be a continuous process to guide France to a more stable future.
He shakes his head to clear it. I must take my leave, as I'm needed early tomorrow. However, I will reach out to you, Madame Desjardins, and we can discuss details. You can also bet your life that I will be part of your continuous process.
Oh, I would only be satisfied with your continued enthusiastic involvement.
He leaves, stern but obviously energized. Joanna eyes you.
I can't tell if that was bravery or a complete lack of caution, but it certainly worked for now. I suppose Armand should know how well you've done.
Is bravery.
Hey, Jordan! Suffering vitamin P deficiency.
Vitamin P.
For peanut!
I'm joking.
Yay!
Afterwards, the two of you mill around together, concerned only with observing the gathering, as other members of the Frankish Habsburgian society do their work. You and Joanna make utterly worthless small talk with each other, while waiting for some issue or crisis to unfold. Thankfully, none does. Around an hour and a half later, the event is starting to wind down, and Armand bounds over to the both of you. I come bearing spectacular news! Our special guest from His Majesty's Privy Council understands us completely. He is already sworn to make sure that the Queen attends every Privy Council meeting, and will urge her to reach out to her family in Austria. This couldn't possibly have gone better for us.
It's okay, I'll mark you as here. Oh, Armand, that's wonderful news! I'm so glad I picked you for this. You and I should go out to celebrate our victory.
Armand hesitates and looks at you, worried. Joanna, are you sure that's what you meant?
Absolutely. You and I have accomplished great things today, and will accomplish even more tomorrow. It only makes sense for the two of us to go out and celebrate, she replies, but her voice sounds less certain than it did before.
That isn't what we...
Armand gives an exasperated sigh.
We'll discuss this back at the house.
Does George get a tardy?
I love Joanna's angry face. I love Joanna's angry face. Armand's isn't bad. Armand's is fitting. Armand's angry face is, Armand's angry face is kind of realistic. Joanna's is just so exaggerated and hilarious. I feel dumb after class today.
You're right, she says levelly to Armand, but her eyes stay focused on you. We have a lot to discuss.
With that, Joanna turns and leaves, just leaving you and Armand as things filter out. Jerome starts cleaning up, but you studiously ignore him. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Joanna and I have spent so long working together that I guess she... Remember the girl with the green ribbon? No? I don't. Better suited to the internet where my intellect is put to its best use. Brain tired from all that growing? Trust me, I understand how easy it is to fall in love with you. Well, I'll always take your generous compliments. I'm still worried. She is absolutely smarter than that. She founded this whole society, recruited most of its members, and got it all to this point. Then again, intellect has a way of failing at the worst possible time.
Intellect and emotion are separate. The two of you stand around together, just watching the party continue to disperse, holding each other's hand. He sighs, then gives you a quick kiss on your forehead.
I'm sorry, but I must go. At this time of night, the patrols are going to start picking up soon, and I can't risk getting questioned by any kind of authorities. Please, visit me soon. I want to do something together with you. Just you and me, no politics. I swear it.
Foreign powers. After one last embrace, the two of you part ways, and you head home. For you, the walk will be short. All this progress, it feels like something is coming to a head. But what? My brain is done. I've been there. Next is military ball. Do I have any gossip? I don't, and I need crown gossip, but I'm not going to get crown gossip, I don't think. Are we going to a party yet? One more day for the party. From a children's book in a dark, dark room. Don't think I ever read it. La Grande Taverne de Londres. A luxurious restaurant, this rendezvous location caters to some of the wealthiest and most powerful clientele in all of Paris. It also serves some of the finest food in the city. Try the lamb! Deciding to spend the day exploring Paris, your wanderings take you to a fashionable section of the city, south of your humble home. Just as you feel you've become used to the city's myriad smells, your nose manages to pick up a new, surprising scent. Flavorful, yet subtle. What do you eat for dinner? Chicken wings. I picked up chicken wings from the Ready Hot counter. You smelled good food before, but this is something else entirely. Quickening your pace, you find a sign that reads, La Grande Taverne de Londres. This is slightly puzzling, as it looks nothing like the rustic taverns you've seen elsewhere in France. Inside, you find a dining room brightly lit by crystal chandeliers and furnished with mahogany tables draped in fine linen tablecloths. A few aristocrats look up from their table at you, and you suddenly feel rather underdressed in your day clothes. You pull out your journal and jot the address down. This feels like the perfect place to visit with someone who cares about fine food, detailed service, and prefers a formal setting. Exquisite food and an elegant atmosphere. This is exactly what I was looking for. So that, I think, probably should work with Honorad. Spend a few minutes chatting with the staff and perusing the menu before you head home, visions of a feast dancing in your head. Perhaps you'll be able to return sometime soon. Give me a second here. Wanted to see if that would reset the sound effects. Doesn't seem to have. We're right at 2 hours, so it's a little late for... Feels a little late to do a party. So I think we will save the party for next time. And the sound effects carried over to the main menu. Wow. So yeah, it needs to be rebooted entirely. Take you to a party? Next week! Next week! Party next week. Probably like 2 or 3 parties next week. Probably at least 2 parties next week. Probably 2 parties. Next week I think we'll have 2 parties. Yeah, definitely. The sound effects definitely got bugged here. Missed everything. I mean, you didn't miss that much this week, Jordan. We found Armand. We found our fiance. The main thing you missed tonight, Jordan, is we found our fiance, Armand. And the lady friend that he's currently staying with. Who is, you know, who clearly wants him, and he's all like, no, I'm with Yvette here. So we got ourselves a love square right now. Right now, we have a love square going on right now. Me and Armand are in love. Is he a dandy? Not really, actually. Joanna? Yeah. So yeah, right now, Yvette and Armand are in love. Joanna is in love with Yvette. Or Joanna is in love with Armand. And then Yvette is also in love with, is also, you know, developing a relationship with Anurad. Parallelogram. So I mean, it's not exactly a square because I mean, like the bottom lines of the yeah. So I guess it's like more of like a long line, but you know what I mean. Yvette loves Armand, or Joanna loves Armand. Armand loves Yvette. Yvette loves both Armand and maybe. Anurad. Yeah. The main thing you missed was just that we reunited with Armand. Didn't know we were engaged? Yep. Love Rhombus. Everyone does love a good rhombus. Who doesn't appreciate a good rhombus? That's true. I did call Scapegoat a slut. But then I apologized. I did apologize for it though. And I mean, like, you know, there's nothing wrong with being a slut. Sluts are fine. I have no issue with sluts. Slut shaming is a bad thing. You sing it to the tune of Rock Lobster? It was a love rhombus. I don't know how that song goes. Rock Lobster. Rock Lobster. Love rhombus. Anywho's. Yeah, that'll do it for tonight. So thanks for coming. I've never actually listened to the song Rock Lobster. The only B-52 song I've ever listened to. The only B-52 song I've ever listened to is Love Shack. So, yeah, so thanks for coming. And, don't think I'll be on tomorrow. But, see you next time I am on. Good night.